Hi Aquarius, welcome to Sugar Free. This is your Q4 2023 reading. Just settling in here. Yeah, thank you for coming, Aquarius. So I've got two decks here. I'm just going to crack straight on. I've got two decks here. I've got the major arcana of the ancient Italian tarot here. Been working with this deck for many years now. Right, so I've got that, and over here I've got the Rider-Waite split into its suits. So what I'm going to do, Aquarius, is pull three major arcana, and then I'm going to clarify each of those three major arcana with one from each suit of the minor arcana. I don't see other people doing readings in this way, you know, each to their own. That's how I like to do it. So that's what I do. So one last cut, everything shuffled. Let's see what October, November and December 2023, how do they feel? What's the kind of energetic like whiff for these last 3 months of this very fast moving year? Okay. Got Chariot in the reverse. That's not fast moving at all, is it? It's pretty much diametric opposite. The Hermit. That's not fast moving either. And the Empress. Well, that's not fast moving, but it's certainly inexorable. Definitely inexorable. I mean, you can't stop this. You know, this is nature. Okay. This is the Shakti of growth here. This third position here in this spread that I use is the bigger picture, kind of the impersonal nature of the situation, whatever it is, what's going on. That's position 3. Position 1 is the personal position. It's the micro to the macro. Micro, macro. Little picture, big picture. Personal, impersonal. So we're coming in here with a feeling of obstruction. Okay, but what's really going on here, this second position, is the hidden energy. What's really going on here is reflection. And that's why things are not, just don't feel like they're moving. But as I said, this is the hidden energy. We might not necessarily see that this kind of, this inner transformation of the Hermit, because, I mean, we don't know whether he's always lived like this, but I mean, he's not a monk, he's a hermit. So it's not like he's sort of professionally spiritual. This is more somebody who's lived the life that they've lived and has got to the point where they want to kind of turn in on themselves and reflect alone. And all the while, it's growing, it's growing, it's growing, it's growing, and whatever it is just like proliferating and sprouting and blossoming and fruiting and wonderful, wonderful. So I straight away, I need to know what this is about, this Chariot in the reverse here. I mean, I said about it being like obstacles, blockages, lack of forward motion, and certainly lack of fast forward motion. But you know that, like all the tarot cards, very few of them are kind of exclusively good or bad, or happy or sad, or like a card you want to get and a card you don't want to get. I mean, there are some like that in the minor arcana, but even then, you know, I'm thinking it's 7 of Swords, 9, 10 of Swords, whatever. Even then, you know, there's always other sides to things. And I mean, even this amazing Shakti of growth here in the Empress, like this unending proliferation, you know, that's not always what you want to hear either. It isn't in certain settings. You know, when something doesn't know when to stop growing, and how to stop growing, you know, you got problems. Anyway, so, you know, there's two sides to every story with all these cards. And not only is there two sides to every story, but it's in the reverse. So I'm going to stop jabbering and pull. Okay, we've got 9 of Pentacles, 9 of Wands. I don't take reversals in this minor arcana section. Queen of Swords and the Page of Cups. Well, straight away, I see here in the Queen of Swords and the Page of Cups, there's sort of disappointment here. This queen was expecting a damn sight more than that fish. Something's being kept under wraps here. Something's being sort of like, something's being fenced off. And I'm seeing that in the 9 of Pentacles, sorry, the 9 of Wands, and somewhat in the 9 of Pentacles as well. Because here we've got this sort of fence has been built here out of our actions. That's what Wands represent. It represents actions carried out in the world, or certainly things built and constructed in the world. And this is where we build and construct it in order to protect ourselves, whether we feel like we need to or not. Because, I mean, I don't see any threat out there. You know, and he's looking well defensive. Matey there, he's like shifty, he's paranoid. You know, this might be a sort of a certain amount of like overzealous kind of boundaries. You know, when you've truly got what they call good boundaries, you're more like this 9 of Pentacles. There's something here about being contained or kind of ill-contained or uncontained. Because, I mean, that in the 9 of Pentacles, you know, she's on her lands. She is walking through her gardens. This is her space. And that is its own wealth, quite apart from all these pentacles she's got. But she's here alone. You know, the 9s are pretty much, I think, I don't know. Yeah, 9 of Swords is alone. 9 of Pentacles obviously is alone. 9 of Cups is alone. And 9 of Wands is alone. So this is about, you know, this is very, very strongly about the individuals. But what I'm saying about her, in contrast to him, is that she is so stable in what she owns and what she is responsible for. Because, you know, in owning these lands, she is also responsible for their upkeep, for their maintenance. You know, these pentacly pumpkins don't appear out flipping nowhere. It needs tending. So there's good management here. And, you know, the more kind of stable you are in your self-management, the less of this you need. And perhaps something's happened, Aquarius, where you feel like you kind of didn't attain the victory that is clearly being attained here. I mean, look at that laurel wreath down there. And that is the headgear of the vanquished, okay? Because he's like fucked them, yeah? He's like overcome them. He's like the champion. You know, and just this is like pure solar plexus energy. This is just like going out there and flipping getting it, or like dying trying, so to speak, but it's in the bloody reverse. And there's more of a wish to sort of stay in one's own space. And perhaps this is why. I mean, would you really, as tribute to this queen, turn up with a fucking fish? Would you really? Oh, snicker snack off with his head. I think I'm mixing my my turn of the 20th century English writers there. I don't know, but There's a sense here that sort of movement isn't really necessary. You know, certainly with, I mean, we're good in the Nine of Pentacles. It's like all good. All good. And then we got this block and this slice and this ridiculous, like, underestimate or overestimating one's own sort of emotional offer here. And sort of acting like a bit of a twit. And it didn't go down well. So perhaps there's a bit of PTSD, basically, here. And we're sort of content to stay there. That's what the Nine of Pentacles is telling me at this stage. I'm going to pull on the Hermit now. Six of Pentacles. Trying to work out what's fair. Considerations of fairness, generosity, equal treatment, kind of going beyond the necessary in the interests of others. Perhaps there's a kind of chronological thing here in this first column. Perhaps we were there, like good in one's gardens. Oh, I don't know. I'm going to keep going. When I don't know, you know, I will say Knight of Wands. I mean, I usually do work something out with it. Something becomes clear, rather. Oh man, I mean, it's such a different energy, this Hermit. I've really got a strong feeling here that this Hermit used to be this Knight of Wands, or had it in him to be this Knight of Wands. No, I'll stick with like wants to be, or used to be, sorry. Ooh, Freudian slip. Maybe somewhere back in the bones of things, Aquarius, some kind of communal garden, it kind of injustice or kind of unfairness was meted out. Oh God, look what I just pulled. I hadn't even looked at that before I started saying that. Five of Swords. Somebody stole somebody else's victory here. Somebody stole somebody else's victory. Somebody behaved in such a way that we moved from the Nine of Pentacles to the Nine of Wands. And there was something unfair. And there's another kind of aspect to this Six of Pentacles that really is, I just find it fascinating, the implications of it. Can you see that little tear down there on his cloak? You see what colour it is underneath? It's red, like the merchant. This is a rich person pretending to be a poor person. Okay, that's what that is. That's what that is. And that's kind of something for nothing. That's something for nothing. And I mean, if this merchant who's out here distributing his largesse, all right, his pentacly largesse, and kind of, you know, like weighing someone in financially, if he doesn't realize, if this merchant doesn't realize that this person doesn't need his money and is kind of, you know, diddling him out of some money, you know, that's a loss for him, and it's a loss for him. There's a sort of a wider implication of a lack of sort of like good social behavior, because it affects everybody. It affects everybody. And what I'm seeing here, Aquarius, is an energy whereby it has affected one's kind of, one's sacral chakra. Okay. And sort of snatched defeat from the jaws of victory, or from the head of victory. That wreath. Whoever was wearing that is like crushed in the dust under that chariot now. You know, here in the Five of Swords, we see someone kind of running around after the event, capitalizing on it. It's not nice. It's not nice energy here. Oh, man. And do you know what I'm getting from this? Whoever this is, like hiding under there, whoever that is in this reading for you, Aquarius, they're in plain sight, mate. They're in plain sight. I'm going to keep going. Empress. Shakti Ma. Om Tare 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 Soha. That's my Buddhist mantra. And here she is again. That is Queen of Pentacles. That is the minor arcana iteration. Lakshmi. Om Shri Mahalakshmi Soha. Shakti. Om Tare 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 Soha. They're all kind of interchangeable, really, but I've been practicing these Buddhist and Vedic Shakti mantras for a decade. Man, what an amazing journey. What an amazing journey. How wonderful. I mean, this is just like, you know, the younger cousin, of this energy. Beautiful. Just backing it up. But what's going to be interesting is to see how this all works horizontally as well, because I don't just read vertically, I read horizontally too. And I look at the journey. Yeah, you're starting out again. The capacity is there. The space is there. The bandwidth is there for new projects. Okay, have the confidence, Aquarius, to look to a further horizon and to expand your field of action, because it augurs very well, all of this. Let's keep going. Oh. He Swords. As I was saying that, it augurs very well. And I thought, what if I get a really shit Swords card? And there it is, the Eight of Swords. But I mean, it's not really shit, but not as shit as having your bloody buns sliced off by her. But turning up, maybe she'll go, come here. She's like, come here, come. Like this, he turns up with his fish, and she's like, oh, have you gutted it yet? And they sit down together and get that blade, like gut the fish and have it for their tea. Anyway, Eight of Swords. I mean, this is kind of what this is saying to me, is that the only thing so far here that can block or in any way affect this wonderful growth and sort of like spirit of exploration. And that's what nature does. It's always exploring. Yeah, it's just like seeking out new like ways to grow and new forms and new varieties. And, you know, that's just what it does. It's wonderful, wonderful. And you can't stop it, no matter how like up your own doodah you are with your own like life story worries. And, you know, I'm sorry if I sound denigrating, but but what? You know, well, as who was it? What Hamlet said to Horatio in Shakespeare's wonderful play. He said, there are more things in heaven and earth. Oh, no, hold on. No, it's not that quite. Yeah, there are more things in heaven and earth than I thought of in your philosophy or something. But no, he said that another quote. He said that there is nothing good nor bad, but thinking makes it so. And that's what I'm getting off. It's our thoughts that it's only the way we see things and the way we organize our impressions into like narratives in our heads, it's that really, really kind of augurs what happens and augurs where we end up here in this exploration, in this like infinitely fertile kind of existential like safari park we live in. It's our thinking. That's the only thing that can hold us back. Let's get a Cups card. Okay. Four of Cups. You see, there was, I thought this was going to be like the Ace or the 2 or something like, ta-da! But it's not, it's the 4. It's like, no, you're all right, thanks. It's like, no, I'm good. I've already had 3. Thank you. So no, I'll pass for now. Thanks. That's what I'm getting off that. I mean, that's just a sort of silly kind of amateur dramatics way of explaining what's going on in the 4 of Cups, but how does it fit into this column here? Remember what I said right back at the beginning about the kind of the immediate and the underbelly kind of interpretations of cards. I mean, like the Hermit here, you know, put him in the reverse, all his dignity's gone. He's just some like strange old man living in a cave just outside the village, you know, and the children like throw like hard little plums from the tree at him when they see him, when he comes into the village. You know, there's different sides to all of it. And what I said about the Empress was that endless growth is not always a good thing. And that's what I'm getting here off the 4 of Cups. And I mean, I said here that there'd been some sort of like basic sort of cheat or like injustice or some sort of rip-off or somebody like, and profiting from it in whatever way, certainly perhaps in terms of reputation, and that it was in plain sight in those around you. Perhaps realizing that. And I've got to say, I don't really see that on the table, apart from perhaps the Queen of Swords here. But I don't see any sort of great flash of insight. What I'm seeing here, Aquarius, is the undeniable potential for progress and evolution in a really beautiful way. All right. But what comes along with that in this column is this anxiety, this sort of self-focused anxiety, and a kind of a non-partaking of like emotional exchange here in the 4 of Cups. But like I said, that might not be a bad thing. I mean, you know, in bodily terms, when cells grow and just grow and just grow and proliferate and proliferate and proliferate, that's cancer, you know, that's basically how that works. And I remember doing a lot of research, like informally, many years ago about the whole thing about cloning. And there's a particular behavior of cells, or cells have, healthy cells have a thing called, well, the chap who discovered it, or the person who discovered it, was called Mr. or Professor or Dr. Hayflick. And Hayflick discovered this process whereby cells have a kind of stop point beyond which they do not proliferate or grow any further. Things have to be the right size and the right proportions and in the right quantities for them to work in conjunction with everything else. And what they had in cloning, in sort of certainly in stuff going on in the 80s and the 90s, I think there were attempts at, well, there were. It was Dolly the sheep here in the UK. was that quite often some of the cells didn't have the correct Hayflick limits, or didn't have it's called Hayflick limits, didn't have them at all, maybe. So they just went on growing and growing and growing. And the organ that this was most common in apparently was the liver, which can regenerate, as I understand it. You cut a bit of it off, it will grow back. I think it's the only bit of the body that's like that, apart from your fingernails, but your hair. But it's the only organ like that. And things need to know when to stop. So this might not be a bad thing here, but I think I'm not surprised, really. I mean, the Queen of Swords is sort of insight around the matter of other people and like authoritative insight, but it's been negotiated, the insight that the Queen of Swords has. It's been negotiated in conjunction with others, because we see her beckoning, or, saying like, come hither, so to speak, and you go and you basically, you have exchange with her. And that's her power. I mean, the King of Swords, no, there's no exchange going on there. His word is final. That's just how it is. So, there is a certain incisiveness there, but for this to be going on under the surface of this, in the underbelly, it's no wonder that there's Eight of Swords here, Eight of Swords energy. And it's kind of a shame that like something isn't, like, it's not worked through, all right, in this reading. It's not worked through. Whatever this is, Aquarius, carries on. And I'm not, there's nothing like really bad here. I've got to say it. There's nothing really bad here. But it's the working through of the implications of what's gone on here in the Six of Pentacles, the Knight of Wands, and the Five of Swords, that's led to this kind of real feeling of defensiveness. And I mean, it's not about, we're not in a bad situation with, in fact, we're in a bloody nice, very comfortable situation here in terms of our worldly and financial like doings and goings on. But, perhaps in the light of that, this Six of Pentacles looks a little bit different, Aquarius. Perhaps it's like, well, maybe it's best to just kind of keep stum. Because, I mean, there is some in the the Nine of Pentacles, there is an element of it, just keeping things to yourself. There's not like bloody great crowds of people here. It is about one's own circumstances. But I feel with the presence of the Hermit here, topping this row, this column here, this middle column, this is sort of reflection and perhaps some journaling, or some sort of, I don't know, perhaps some counseling or something, some sort of appraisal. And I wouldn't even say a reappraisal, some appraisal of what's unfolded here. And we end this reading. Here we were blocked. At the beginning of this reading, we were blocked, or feeling blocked, and feeling sort of, I don't know, maybe impotent, maybe powerless, like we're not moving forward. And here, by the time we get to the end here, we're actually in the same situation, but this is much more self-directed energy. I mean, it's less powerful energy than the Chariot in the upright or in the reverse, because it's minor arcana, but it's this sense of it being not at all a stupid idea to not move forward, because there's something here that is still working itself through, and it is integral to this. I mean, perhaps this Knight of Wands represents like a full-on person who's like come and kind of maybe done a number on you. Because there is also sometimes in the Hermit a sort of, it's weird with like really old people. I work with really old people, And, you know, in many ways, they you know, I work with people with dementia, and in many ways, they don't know what they're talking about at all. And that's dementia. But then, you know, there's like a wealth of knowledge in there as well. But so that's the sort of the two sides of that energy. But this, what's gone on here, dunk, 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 here in this middle column is going to take some working through. So, you know, the ground for this is all very, very good indeed. And in due course, this Three of Wands will begin to sort of like emerge out of this. But there's a bit of PTSD here and hesitancy about moving forward with anything new emotionally. And the reason I've stressed the word new there is because this is the Ace of Cups here, like being offered and you know, politely, and who knows what one might think of that decision further down the line. I can certainly think of people I politely declined, you know, and sometimes I wonder what would have happened. There we go. But yeah, it's polite declining of new emotional possibilities. So that's how we end the reading. I'm going to leave that there for you, Aquarius. I think I've given you possibly more than enough to think about. And as I say, rest assured, the ground upon which this all rests is very, very healthy. Right. Thank you so much for watching. I hope Q4 goes well for you, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.